Welcome everyone to another episode of Mental Magic by William Walker Atkinson. Remember, this ability, this latent, which means dormant power in mankind is to be used for good and unselfish purposes. It can be used for selfish. We're going to talk about that. Let's get started. Saburo, who is a theosophist and author, defined Kriya Shakti, the power of thought, as the mysterious power of thought which enables it to produce external, perceptible, phenomenal results by its own inherent energy. The ancients held that any idea will manifest itself externally if one's attention is deeply concentrated upon it. Similarly, an intense desire will be followed by the desired result. Now, H.P.B. Blavatsky referred to Kriya Shakti as the power of thought, one of the 7 forces of nature, creative potency of the siddhis, that's S-I-D-D-H-I-S, the powers of the full yogis. This power is latent, which means dormant, in all human beings, but it is not strong enough to produce external phenomena unless it is awakened by yogic training. Kriya Shakti is that mysterious and divine power latent in the will of every man, and which, if not called into life, quickened and developed by yogi training, remains dormant in 999,999 men out of a million, and it gets atrophied. Now quickly, remember William Walker Atkinson is just one of many scribes who have explained thought power, mental magic throughout the millennia. There's lots of them. He was writing at the beginning of the 19th century. Now this was the Edwardian era. So please do not get upset by the use of words that were completely acceptable then, but now are definitely not even close to being PC. They are not accepted in the world of today. I don't want to be reading your comments about political correctness or just listen. Please, dear God, know that in theosophical texts or the New Thought texts, when the word race is used, it means a wave of humanity. It in no way means ethnicity. I'm not going to argue this with you. Race means a wave of humanity. Thank you for understanding. So, Mental Magic, The Secret of Mental Magic, written down by William Walker Atkinson, who also wrote down the 14 lessons under the pen name Yogi Ramacharaka. And that is a huge part of this channel. That's the whole reason Living Theosophy is even here. So we're on page 21. And I am massaging Atkinson's text a little bit so it flows a little easier to speak when reading aloud. But I am not changing the context at all. So here we go. The force of good and evil. To many people, it may be almost sacrilegious to say that the highest uses of mental magic, such as leading humanity up to higher ideals, aims and accomplishments to success and happiness and health, are merely higher forms of the same force that is used by the ignorant who use voodooism and sorcery and similar dark practices. But listen, it's true. Mental magic is like any other great natural force. It is above good and evil. It is neither good nor is it evil, but it may be used for either one. This is true of electricity, steam, explosives, and every other natural force. And we might as well look this fact squarely in the face and govern ourselves accordingly. The same force that is used by the modern healer when bringing that energy through, this same force when he or she treats a patient for health, success, or some other desirable quality is the same that is used in voodoo, sorcery, and black magic, where people are prayed into sickness and death. The same with the medicine man of the American Indian, with his charms and incantations, the wizards and enchanters of the Middle Ages, the practitioner of adverse treatments, or the malicious mental magnetism of the modern cults of today. The same force, this energy force, is all the same. It runs through the saint and the sinner, the angel and the demon, the dove and the serpent, the lamb and the tiger. Nature's one force runs through all. It is imperative to know that. Now, the secret of the force. Just as the mental magic is brought into operation through the prayers of the faithful of all religions before their shrines, images, and holy objects, so may the same force be brought into operation through the fetishes, conjurations, enchantments, charms, spells, and devil worshipping of the ignorant and depraved human. Now, the secret is this. The power does not come from the supposed source, but from within the mind of the man employing it. That's where the power comes from. And still more startling to those who don't know, it is this. This is equally true. The power of the mind of the person who's being affected is the real cause of the effect. Stay with me, rather than the power of the mind of the person who's using this force. The latter merely calling into operation the power of the mind of the person affected. Okay? Remember, we're going to use this responsibly. This is ignorant use of the force, he writes here. Passing from the past to the present age, we see now more than ever before this wonderful mental magic. It's no longer the property of just the few and the elite. The information has filtered out among the masses. You see it all over YouTube now through various sources. The Secret brought a lot of it out in 2006, and we see the force in use on all sides. Often, the persons using it don't know the knowledge of where it came from or its real nature. And such persons often involve themselves in a terrible whirlpool of effects through selfish reasons and elementary use of this power. Now, right here, I'm going to tell you, be careful what you wish for, please, God, because this works. And what you think you want to manifest into your life, what you believe you want, may not be the best for you. Many are playing with this force like children playing with dynamite. It is one of the purposes of the lessons to call the attention of such people to the nature of the force they are employing and the possible, no, more like probable results of the misuse of it. Now, I'm telling you firsthand, be careful what you wish for. Not that they are all punished for such misuse, but they are punished by their misuse. Let's say that again. They are not punished for such misuse, but they are punished by it. Now, black magicians are inevitably caught in the meshes of their own nets. It's true. This will come back upon you. They are entangled in the psychic machinery of their own making and are blown up by their own psychic nuclear bombs. These things will be dealt in their proper places in these lessons. We're only just doing a tiny bit each week. Now, the modern uses of the force. He's writing modern here. This is written in 1907. In concluding this little consideration of the subject, Atkinson calls attention to the fact that now, for the first time in the history of the world, mental magic is being employed for furthering commercial aims and ends. Ways to get rich quick schemes, commonly known and advertised, instructions in the use of suggestions for marketing. This is used in advertising. It's mental magic to get you to buy the product. It's true that the few strong men in business life have always made use of this force, consciously or unconsciously, but never before has it been taught generally as a part of a business education. It has been reserved for America to recognize the force and boldly apply it in this way, meaning only to the making of dollars. It is being used right now to control the masses and for massive selfish reasons. That's why I'm bringing these teachings to you here. So hopefully you will use them for good, for the best interest of humanity, for the future that is to come. Now, this is being used all over the world. It is commonplace now. But back when Atkinson wrote this book in 1907, people were just picking up on this. Not many people. We didn't have the internet, obviously. And he writes, in view of this fact, it is not time that those who know of the real nature, principles, and laws of this force should give to the world their knowledge. But this is what I'm doing now because I believe that 120 years later, I think it is time. It's about damn time that people know it. It's not just kept for the elite. The elite are misusing it, all right? I believe it is time now. As humans, we may not know what we're dealing with, but I believe if you're here and you're watching this, then you're the one who knows how to deal with this. All right, there's a few of you here that are going to be using these for selfish reasons. I'm going to tell you, you can learn by listening to me, or you can learn by doing it yourself and learn the hard way. It's up to you. I believe, and I think Atkinson says here, that the good and the proper use of this force it can happen. I believe it can. We can recognize the evil possibilities and improper use, and we may avoid this massive misuse of manipulation and control. So anyway, he's writing here, the attempt to monopolize the occult knowledge. Many students of the occult, and again here, the definition of occult simply means veiled or currently unseen. Okay, ready? This book is now in the occult. That's all it means. It does not mean black magic. It can mean that, but it is not synonymous with ominous, all right? It simply means out of view. All right, but Atkinson writes here that many have sought to keep the fundamental principles of the great law of nature underlying the phenomena of mental magic away from the general public. They, and I've heard this before, have claimed that it was dangerous for people to know that such a force existed and could be used. They have held that such knowledge should be carefully guarded by the few. Now, who are the few? Who are these few that think that they can control this? I don't understand. It's the selfishness of humanity, and that its very existence should be denied to the many. This may have been good reasoning in the early days of the world, Atkinson writes, but when the masses were grossly ignorant and when books were hard to come by, when the knowledge was locked up in the minds of the leaders of the day that could have been trusted back then, not many, but some. But the argument no longer applies. The result has been that a considerable body of occult knowledge has been opened up to the gaze of the public, and we are clamoring for more. Just look at the momentum of the law of attraction in the world of 2023. Every channel all over the place. Some of them are saying all the right things. And I don't know if they're counseling to make sure you're using it correctly. Some of them are talking about manipulating others, and that is extremely dangerous. Much of the knowledge possessed by the public regarding mental magic is but semi-knowledge, quasi-knowledge, half-truths, okay? The time has come, Atkinson says, when the whole truth should be taught. So we continue next week with It's Too Late to Deny Facts, a mighty power for good and evil, and much, much more. Remember, this force, Kriya Shakti is what it's called, thought power, mental magic, is not to be used if what you are looking to manifest belongs to someone else, or if what you are looking to manifest will cause harm to another being. Be careful and be wise with what you wish for. I am hoping that those of you who are watching will possibly manifest what it is you want to get your life in order, and then you will use this power for the good of all beings on our planet. Thank you for being here. I love you. I'll see you next week.